Welcome back to the YouTube channel for the New England Player. I am your host and founder, Matthew Andrews. So in this video, we are delighted to bring you another interview here on the New England Players YouTube channel. And in this video, we sit down and have a wonderful conversation with the Massachusetts women's amateur competitor, Lillian Guleserian. Lillian is your winner of the 2026 New England Women's Amateur Championship, which was staged just this past week at the Concord Country Club in Concord, New Hampshire. And this is a tremendous event that brings together the best women's amateur competitors throughout the 6 states found here in the New England region. So primarily what we discuss with Lillian here in this interview is her preparations coming up to the tournament week. We discuss her thoughts on the Concord Country Club golf course and what the layout was like for the tournament. And then we also discuss with her some of the key moments that led to her incredible victory over fellow competitor Carrie Fennessy. We also discussed some things, including her favorite golf courses that she's discovered throughout the New England region here, where she currently calls her home club, and also where she currently plays her college golf. So we are incredibly grateful to Lillian for her time for this interview. And as always, if you enjoyed this video, please be sure to give the video a like, comment below, and as always, please be sure to subscribe to the channel to make sure you don't miss any of our content coming forward from here. All right, thank you very much, and let's get into the conversation with Lillian. All right, well, Lillian, thank you so much for joining me today on the New England Players YouTube channel, and thank you also, special thanks to you for joining me so shortly after your tremendous victory in Concord. So welcome to the channel.
Of course, thank you for having me.
My pleasure. Excellent. Yeah. So again, as you mentioned, you're just coming out of a tremendous week in Concord, New Hampshire for the New England Women's Amateur. So we'll certainly dive into your play, into your victory there as well. A couple of other topics. We'll maybe get into like what you're doing currently for your college golf. Just talk about some of your favorite courses throughout the New England region that you've come to discover over the years. But I think what we'd love to do at first here is just maybe get to know you a little bit better. So maybe tell us a little bit about yourself. Where you're from, how you got started playing golf. Maybe where you grew up playing and where you're currently playing in college.
Yeah. So I'm from Westwood. I have lived in Massachusetts my whole life. Started golfing when I was 6 years old. Actually, my brother and I signed up for this golf summer camp one day, right down the street at Ponkapog Golf Club. And we both fell in love with it there and started competing not too shortly after. And yeah, here we are. I will be a sophomore at Penn State in the fall, playing for them, and I absolutely loved my first year. So,
excellent. And when you grew up learning the game, what was like? Where was your home club? Like, where did you kind of learn how to play? And over the years,
yeah. Like I said, I started at Ponkapog when I was very young, but currently I'm at Blue Hill Country Club, and I've been there for almost 10 years. So, it's been a while. Yeah.
Excellent. Great course. Certainly a lot of solid history there with a PGA championship back in the 50s, I think. And then it'll be interesting to maybe see if some folks can check that course out as well, because I believe it's hosting the Mass Senior Women's this year, which is awesome for them. A great course. Excellent. Mm-hmm. Very good. Yeah. So maybe now just kind of diving into the week that you had last week. So again, huge congratulations on taking home the trophy at the New England Women's Am in Concord, New Hampshire at Concord Country Club. So yeah, maybe what you could tell us now is, coming into the week, I know for a lot of the players, coming home probably in like the May timeframe from college, but leading up to the tournament, like what were your preparations like? Did you play any other events coming into it, or what were some of your general preparations?
Yeah. So I had played a tournament down in South Carolina a few weeks before. I did pretty well in that. So going into the New England, I felt pretty confident. Usually my preparation's about the same. A lot of focus on the short game, just feeling it out around the greens, a lot of putting. And yeah, I never played the course before, so I didn't exactly know what I was getting myself into. But yeah, just played a lot at my home course, getting a feel for how my game was coming back from South Carolina. And yeah, just really trying to take advantage of the practice round right before the tournament. So
excellent. Yeah, and so kind of diving into the tournament a little bit, I was actually reviewing how the week went for the field at the championship, and it was really interesting to see that. I think if I remember reviewing it correctly, I think there was only one round under par for the entirety of the championship, which is quite interesting. So, what were some of the things that are worth maybe mentioning about how Concord Country Club is playing as far as like the conditions that they set up for you. I think it seemed like a pretty good weather week, but maybe if there's anything interesting about the weather, if that was a factor. And what did you really think of the golf course? Like, what were some of your favorite holes out there?
Yeah. Overall, I love the golf course. It was beautiful. It was in great conditions. It definitely could be a little tricky if you were not hitting fairways or greens, which I found myself doing a few of the holes. But weather-wise, yeah, we had a little rain going into the week, so the greens weren't too fast, which I think helped me a little bit. I could attack some more pins. And then, yeah, really the second day I would say was the trickiest, just regarding the winds. It was a little, like I said, a little windier. They had tucked a few pins, so it's a little harder to get to them. I actually didn't hit a ton of greens in regulation. But yeah, if you look at the scores, I'd say the second day was definitely the trickiest. You can get into a bit more trouble out there, which I think some of the field did. Favorite holes, I like the ending stretch, 17, 18 is kind of a bit of a different feel than the rest of the course. Coming up the hill on 17, that long par 5, and then 18 back into the clubhouse. They're both beautiful holes, but definitely tricky. Got to be very strategic going into those closing holes.
Excellent. Very good. Yeah, it's certainly, I think, one of Central New Hampshire's finest layouts there that they have at Concord. Excellent.
Sure.
Excellent. Very good. Yeah. And so you started off the tournament really quite steady with rounds of 72 and 74, which really kept you in it quite nicely. I think at that point you were only one shot back of Carrie's Fantasy going into that final round. But an awesome thing I think about how you kind of put an end to the first 36 holes is you managed to chip in on the 18th, which is really quite awesome. So I guess when you have like a moment like that in such a substantial tournament, how did you look at that moment heading into the last round? Did you figure that was going to be maybe a pivotal moment for you in the tournament, and did you feel like that gave you some nice momentum going into the final round?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the second day, like I said, it was a little trickier. If I counted correctly, I only hit about 7 greens in regulation, and you saw that at an 18. So seeing that ball go in, still take advantage of some of the birdie opportunities while not hitting greens was a lot of confidence going into that final day. Also, I hadn't been watching the leaderboard much, so to see I was only one back after that round gave me a lot of motivation going into that final day for sure.
Excellent. Yeah, and I think, and then as far as like how they set you all up for the final day, did they pair you up in twosomes or threesomes, or what was the setup?
They did threesomes, so it was me, Karis, and Maddie, which was a great group. I played with both of them a lot of times before, so that was really fun.
Awesome. Yeah, so coming into that final round, again, it looks like, based on what I saw, I think you were only one shot back of Carrie's Fantasy. And then coming into the back nine of the tournament, I think she was about even. I think you might have been maybe even or one over at that point. So still keeping it pretty close. But then I think the back nine of the last nine of the tournament, it seemed like that's when things certainly got quite interesting because it looks like Carrie's had made eagle on the 12th. So I guess before we get into the rest of the nine there, which really was quite a momentous moment, certainly for the rest of the tournament. What were your thoughts at that point when Carrie's had made eagle? Were you still just trying to keep cool, just make sure you could stay level headed, just see what happens, or how was your mindset after that big moment there?
Yeah. I mean, I felt pretty good the whole day. I was a little more consistent than the previous days. And so, yeah, I was on a tough position. I was in the thick rough on that par 5, so I knew I couldn't really attack it as much as she could. And then she hits an amazing shot up there and makes the putt for eagle. So that was really cool. But like I said, I felt pretty good the whole day. So just try to keep my momentum going, stay steady, and try to make some moves coming down the last 9.
Sure. No, very good. And yeah, I mean, speaking of which, I think the next 2 holes are certainly where the tournament got very interesting. So after that eagle, Carrie's, I believe, bogeyed the next hole. And then I think probably something that I think shocked all of us that were following, certainly, she ended up making a quadruple, I believe, on the next hole afterwards.
Yeah.
And I think you managed to get a nice 2-shot swing there when she bogeyed the 13th. I think you managed to birdie it. So when you have a moment like with such a, I would say such a swing of how the tournament's going, where carries makes eagle, you're a couple more back at that point, but then you of course have a nice 2-shot swing, and then out of nowhere you have the moment where she makes such a substantial error, and now you're leading the tournament, I think by 2 at that point. I guess really with such a swing of momentum in only just 3 holes there. What is it like to like really try to process such an incredible swing of fortune during those moments, and then really just kind of just process it all and just keep moving forward to eventually close out the victory?
Yeah, it's definitely hard. Watching any player do that is, we've all been there. It's not something fun at all. But yeah, I felt pretty good going into that hole. I think I parred it, and then the bogey on the next hole was just missed the green. Not a great chip, but nothing too bad. And yeah, just tried to keep my head down, focus on my game, and try to close it out. And after that hole, it's tough to keep going, but she made some amazing par saves after that. So it was still a battle going down to 18.
Excellent. Very good. Well, yeah, I mean, it's such a great victory. I mean, if I remember looking at the scores, it definitely seemed like you had the coolest hand out there as far as like your scores, and it definitely seemed like players were playing well on some days and having some big numbers on the next. But it definitely seemed like you had the most consistent play throughout the week, which seemed to lead to your victory. So again, that's just so awesome. And yeah, I guess if you were to I guess it's not been too long, but if you were to like maybe reflect on the week that you had and winning the New England wide women's amateur, with some of the other things that you've accomplished throughout your junior and amateur career, throughout Massachusetts and the New England region, if you had to think about like where you might place your victory here this last week at the New England women's, where do you think this would land as far as like amongst some of your other achievements?
Yeah, I would say it's definitely up there. I've been really close at this tournament the past few years against a pretty similar field. I want to say I was third in the last 2 years, so I've always been kind of right there. So I'd definitely rank it up there, to finally get it done, and against some great competitors at a great course. So it meant a lot to me.
Excellent. Very good. Well, once again, congratulations. Just such an awesome achievement. Yeah, so actually, you mentioned Blue Hill Country Club earlier. Certainly a wonderful place to be able to call a home course and hone your game. Awesome history, of course, too. Kind of mentions some of the aspects of it with its hosting of the 1956 PGA Championship. And I think some of the other things that are really great about it, for example, I think a lot of people don't know that it's actually like a father and son effort. You have like the Wogan family kind of designing both the main course and then the 9-hole challenger course. So you got 27 holes at your disposal there, which is just a really awesome opportunity. But yeah, give us maybe some insights into Blue Hill Country Club as far as like, what are the things that you like most about the course, maybe some of the aspects about the layout, some of your favorite holes, maybe like how you like to maybe divvy up your play between the 9-holer and the championship course. And then what do you think are some of the things that make it just such a great environment at, and have literally kind of maybe led to your success as a golfer?
Yeah. Well, like I said, I've been there a while, so I've got to see, and they've changed it up a little bit the past few years, but what I like most about it is, that 9-hole course. I love it, between just going, having fun with friends and family, just playing 9 one day, or before tournaments, which I like to do is go out there, change up the distances, play around the greens. I think it's helped me a lot going into some tournaments to just have those 2 different courses, be able to hit a variety of different shots. The environment's great too. All the members are very kind, very supportive. I don't think I'd be the golfer I was today if it weren't for all of them. Some of my favorite holes out there, I would say, see, this is tough because, the 2 courses are very different, but some of the, back 9 on the championship course, there's a lot of hills, a lot of undulating greens. Makes it very interesting. You never know what you're going to go out and shoot one day. And then the Challenger course, I like all 9. They're very different than the championship, but it's a great test. You don't need to be the longest hitter to succeed on those courses, but you got to have a strong short game, and I think that's helped me a lot these past few years.
Awesome. Very good. Yeah, no, I think it's awesome that the women's senior for Massachusetts this year is going there again with just all the history, and it sounds like it should be a pretty cool test for them. So that'll definitely be a great event, I think, for the state this year. Excellent. And then yeah, so you had, of course, the New England women's this past week. Before you head back to college, which we'll get into your college play in a little bit here. But what does the rest of the summer look like for you as far as either just amateur events in New England, or if you have anything else in any other regions of the country? What do you have coming down the pike for the rest of the summer?
Yeah, I'm not too crazy busy in July. My next one is the We Met at the end of July, which is always a fun event. I played it in the past few years, and they always pick some of the best courses around here. So I'm looking forward to that one. And then, closing out the summer with the Women's Mass Am at Oak Hill this year. And then heading right back to school right after that. So that's about it.
Awesome. Yeah, sounds like a great summer ahead for you. Very good. Excellent. So speaking about heading back to school, so you currently play your golf at Penn State, which is fantastic. So I was curious, kind of like, one of the things I talked about with Alan Rose on our last talk is, he's at Georgetown right now, and just kind of talking about the experience of going to, say, like a completely different part of the country, and like a big time school environment like that for athletics. Certainly Penn State is, I think people are certainly familiar with Penn State as far as like athletics, football, probably primarily, but certainly a huge school for any athletics, I would say. And, what would you say what's it been like for you coming, I would say, like maybe from the New England region down to such a big time sporting university like that? And how would you describe the competitive environment that you see yourselves now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was definitely an adjustment, coming from New England. I never really had that, big sports school experience before. But it was eye-opening to be among some amazing athletes competing at such a high level. It was definitely motivating for me, pushing me to be better every day. But yeah, also, Massachusetts golf is, very strong, very competitive. So I think that also prepared me really well going on to the college stage and playing against some amazing schools. So
excellent. And as far as like the competitive environment and schedule that you have at Penn State, what are some of the primary schools that you find yourself up again in a typical season, and what are some of the courses that you get to play and have discovered throughout your tenure so far?
Yeah. So last year we played College of Charleston twice. They hosted us twice, in the fall and in the spring. So being able to travel down there was awesome. We played some amazing courses. We were lucky enough to travel out to Arizona too, which was very cool. I've never played out there before, so that was a very cool experience. And then, some local stuff too, closer to Penn State. We played Maryland to finish out our season, we went into them a lot. Cross tournaments are a great team, and they hosted an amazing event too. So it was really fun first year, and I'm looking forward to this fall too. Some of the same tournaments, we're switching up a little bit as well, but I'm really excited to get back.
Awesome. Yeah, it's funny you mentioned Arizona, because I actually I played in Nevada this year for the first time at the Wolf Creek course north of Las Vegas, which was the first time, certainly from New England, going to, I think, that type of place in the desert mountains. It was quite an experience. Like, what did you think of desert golf when you first played it?
Definitely an adjustment. You don't get much of that up here in New England, but it was really cool. It was nice to see a different landscape. Greens are a little different. All the natural rocks and cactuses. I never saw a cactus on a golf club before, but I would love to get back there and play. That was really cool.
Excellent. As far as like rivalry, does Penn State have like any particular big rival as far as women's golf is concerned, or is it kind of more just loose as far as like rivalries?
Yeah, I would say it's pretty loose. Each tournament kind of gives us a different field. So I wouldn't say there was one school that we had a rivalry with, but all the other Big Ten schools, it's always fun competing against them. So
Excellent.
yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, and it sounds and based on what you said, it sounds like the New England game kind of allowed you to hone your skills. And yeah, I agree. Massachusetts fields for golf are always so strong and so competitive. Excellent, excellent. Yeah, so I think really just for the closing topic I had for you here. So again, we talked a lot about Blue Hill, such an awesome course to be able to have for practice and play and honing your skills. But one of the things that we always like to ask our guests, just being a New England golf outlet, and basically just I'm here really just to highlight stories like yours that are just really quite awesome for the region, and always trying to help people understand how I think wonderful our golf scene is here in this part of the nation. In addition to Blue Hill, I was just curious, maybe it could be anywhere in New England. What do you think is just so special about being able to play the game here? Why people should come and experience golf here in this part of the country? And also, what are some of your favorite courses that you've been able to discover growing up here?
Yeah, I would say New England golf is probably one of my favorite. It's so special. A lot of the courses, especially around, kind of the city area and just outside, are usually like built into the landscape. So you got a lot of, rolling hills, you got undulating greens, uneven lies, and there's a lot of like tree lined fairways. It makes it very interesting, and you got to be a really creative golfer to, succeed up in New England. I would say some of my favorite courses are, like I said, kind of the city courses. You got Dedham Country Polo. That's probably one of my favorite. I'd say Charles River. I played a few tournaments there. That's a really cool landscape. And just, yeah, they're so beautiful, the natural landscape. And I think that's definitely helped my game a lot, having to play, different weather conditions up in New England. Also just, different types of courses, different, hilly, you got some flat, you got some fast greens, slower greens, just a lot of different things, and been lucky enough to play a lot of them around here. So it's been really cool.
Awesome. Very good. Excellent. Well, Lillian, this was just a wonderful conversation. I can't thank you enough for coming on so quickly after your tremendous week that you had in Concord. I'm sure it was quite a grind to get it done, but you did. And again, just huge congratulations to you. And
Thank you.
Definitely looking forward to seeing how you fare for the rest of the season. And I wish you the best of luck in all the tournaments in your college season ahead.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
All right, Lillian. Thanks so much. Take care.
Take care. Bye.